Here's a simple demonstration that can confound the students as well. I take just a meter stick and I suspend it on my fingers and I slowly move my fingers towards the center. And you'll notice that my fingers meet right at the center, the 50 centimeter mark. If I now go in the reverse direction, only my one finger moves. And the other finger remains in place. If I take a mass, such as some modeling clay, and I put the modeling clay off to the center, and I repeat this, you'll note that my fingers do not meet at the center this time, but just off center or off to the right of the modeling clay, the mass that I've put on. If I go back, again, only one finger actually moves. Well, we're dealing here with the force of friction and gravity. When I move my fingers in, it actually moves somewhat irregularly. Notice that my right finger moves part of the time, and now my left finger moves. My right finger, my left finger moves for a while. They do not move at the same distance every time, but it actually takes turns to move. This is because when I move it in, there's a certain amount of friction that exists between my fingers and the meter stick. The friction decreases as the mass that's over my finger actually decreases a little bit. So when I'm moving it in, the mass of the meter stick is not evenly divided over my two fingers. And so the mass that is slightly less, for example this half, reduces then the friction with my finger compared to the other finger, and therefore it moves. And then once my finger moves far enough, I have then a greater frictional force acting on my finger, and hence my finger no longer moves here, but the other finger begins to move, until again the center of mass is actually distributed so that eventually we end up in the center. When I do the reverse, I pull my finger away, and now the mass is centered on my one finger, and then the other finger actually has a decreasing mass, decreasing friction then with the meter stick, and therefore it just moves along without very little resistance. When I put a mass on the meter stick, I'm changing now the center of mass for the meter stick, and hence when I bring my fingers in again, the fingers move towards the center of mass, which is now at about 40 centimeters instead of the 50 centimeters that I had before, without a mass on it. This is the demonstration that can certainly, again, lead to some good discussions about the forces at work when we move our fingers back and forth on the meter stick. It's another great demonstration that students can also take home to their parents and family and display some scientific knowledge about what they've learned in your class.